Hello and welcome back to F1 22 Driver Career Mode. My name is Chris and you join me today for the final round of Season 2. It all comes down to this. We probably could have wrapped it up earlier, but we didn't. And so we are leading the championship, but we are only leading the championship by 8 points. And of course this is a sprint weekend in Brazil, so basically here's the rundown. For Max Verstappen to win the championship, he needs to outscore us by 9 points at least. For Sergio to win, he needs to outscore us by 15 points and his teammate by 7 points. So it's still all to play for, but it's damn close. And I think with the sprint, it's going to mix things up. So it'll be an interesting one. Of course, we had that controversial accident with Max in the last race and Perez didn't finish in Mexico. So almost gifted to us a little bit. I think maybe if Max had won or been a bit closer, maybe wouldn't have been as close as it is. But it is this close. It is the final round. Let's see what we can do in qualifying. I'll be honest, the car in practice has felt awful around this track. In 2021, love this track. In 22, the car just feels not good. I don't know if it's my setup or what it is, but we are going to head into qualifying. We put some old components in for practice and forgot to switch them out. So I don't want to go into this entire sprint weekend with old components. So we are changing them. So it means we're only going to get one run in Q1. Fingers crossed it'll be enough. I'm not entirely convinced it will be though, but we'll see. Kind of fine, hey? There's going to be about 4 minutes left on the clock when we're done. So everybody else will be out there setting second laps. And we're just going for the first.
All clear the garage, please. Car's ready to leave.
This is going to be tight, I think. If it works though, we have got a lot of tyres to use, so that's always good. Alrighty then. Here we come. Round up to the start line to start the first flying lap. Currently down in P20. We've got no delta because this is our first lap, so we're just going to have to hope that we're on the pace. Doesn't feel great so far, I'll be honest. Not setting the world alight. No purple sector in sector 1. The car felt very loose around this section of the track and very understeery at the same time. So it was a bit of a mishmash of understeer and oversteer, which is never a good thing as we come up towards the line. Currently P20, 109.2 for Leclerc, 109.6 for me in what is arguably a much faster car. And P20. Great. Ocon up there in 6th, did a 108.1. So we're 1.7 seconds off the pace. I don't know if that would have come if I'd have spent more time out on the track, but I was shocked when that happened. I thought maybe we'd get knocked out in Q2, given how the car felt, but did not expect that. So into the sprint round, we're last.
Welcome to today's sprint. This is shaping up to be another fantastic weekend.
Certainly is. So as I said, we are dead last. We've got some work to do in this sprint. We need to get ourselves, ideally, some points, because that difference that Max needs to make up is 8 points, right? So if he goes ahead and wins and we don't score any, then he's made up the difference. We'll be tied on points. I don't want that. So we're going to have to work really, really hard here.
Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting sprint. Pierre Gasly lines up on pole position and Lando Norris lines up alongside. Moving on to the rest of the grid, we have Sainz, Perez, Max Verstappen and Russell, Hamilton, Ocon, Ricciardo and Charles Leclerc, Fernando Alonso, Mick Schumacher, Yuki Tsunoda and Albon, Magnussen, Vettel, Lance Stroll, and Robert Schwartzman, Latifi, and Marshall. Which of these drivers will get pole position today? We'll soon find out.
Launch map is good, but we need to learn the gears. So go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please.
All right, here we go then. This is very odd. 20th on the grid. We haven't taken any penalties. We were just really slow. It's worrying for the championship, I can't lie. Anyway, 5 red lights coming on for the sprint race in Brazil. And we're underway. What can we do from the back of the grid? Let's find out. We've got Nicolas Latifi up ahead. Schwartzman in the Alfa Romeo. Can we get round them into turn 1? Round the outside is what we're looking like we're going to do. Having a little look at Stroll as well. But, yep, he does those through. And off we go. Into P17 in the first corner. We'll take that. We've got a lot of work to do here, as I said. So, Magnussen up next. And here comes the race leaders. Lando Norris out front in the McLaren. Pierre Gasly for a 1-2 so far. And Max Verstappen up there on the podium, or trying to get the podium as he fights Carlos Sainz. But Carlos comes out on top on this occasion. George Russell not far behind, and Daniel Ricciardo as well. Sergio Perez down in P7. That's what we like to see. And we're going to send one up the inside on not one, but 2 cars. Tsunoda and Magnussen. Magnussen's fighting it back, though, as we sit in P15 currently. Can we get P14? A little bit of a wobble on the way out the corner, but we are just going to go for it. Elbows out. We've got nothing to lose here. If we don't get into the points, we don't score the points, obviously. And if we crash out, is what it is. We need to get ourselves into the points. And yeah, we're just gonna go for it. Like I said, nothing to lose. We've got the championship. I say nothing to lose. We've got everything to lose. The championship is on the line here. We need to score some points to hopefully bring that home. Fernando Alonso's into the pit lane at the end of that one. He must have made some contact at some point. And on to the second lap. Ocon is our next target. Going quite defensive into turn 1. Not quite close enough, I don't think, to be able to get him here. But we should get the DRS down the second straight. And hopefully that'll be enough for us to get past. It wasn't, unfortunately. But we like to send them down the inside here. And we do so again down the inside on our teammate Esteban Ocon. And up into P12. This is good. This is good progress. Of course, don't forget, the result of the sprint race determines the grid order for the Grand Prix. And given how far we are into the season, I wouldn't be surprised that we saw some grid penalties tomorrow. So wherever we finish, there's a good chance we might actually start a bit higher. So P11 is our next target. Sebastian Vettel in the AlphaTauri. It's his last race in Formula 1 in our little fantasy world that we've got here. He's retiring. I know he's retiring in real life, but he's not in the AlphaTauri, is he? So, do we get past him down the inside? Yes, we do. Nicely done into turn 1. And that is P11. Schumacher and Leclerc left now before we can start fighting for points. Not expecting too much more, to be honest. You can see how much pace the McLarens have got, but Vettel's trying to come back at us there. Going a bit defensive. We do keep him at bay. And the pace differential for pretty much everybody here is next to nothing. You can look at the map on the left. Apart from the real front runners down the inside on Schumacher, apart from the real front runners, everybody's just in a massive train. So the pace is odd here, I have to say. But yeah.
Excellent, that's P10. You're into the points.
Perez has found his way down into P8, so maybe we can fight for that. He's obviously struggling a bit. What can we do on Leclerc? On to lap 5. DRS open. Deploying plenty of ERS down the straight. Are we going to go up the inside? Yes, we are. It was dummy him a bit there, thinking we might go to the outside and then switch to the inside at the very last minute. And off we go, up into P9. Can we get Perez? That would be great. If we can, put him behind us on the grid tomorrow. That would be ideal. We want to... Oh, Ricciardo's locked up and gone straight on. Are we going to inherit P8 here? Looks like we might do, but Ricciardo's fighting it back hard as you like, and he slots in behind us. And P8 is in fact ours. Can we get Perez though? That's the real question. I want to keep the Red Bulls as close as possible. Ideally behind, but you know, we do what we can.
Starting to catch the car in front, but we need to look after the tyres. We won't be making another pit stop.
And down the inside. That was a cheeky move. And through we go on Sergio Perez. Not quite giving me the treatment that he gave Lewis in Abu Dhabi. Of course, he is fighting for this championship as well. So you would have thought he'd put up a bit more defence. But he is going to come back at us. Look at the straight line speed.
5.0 seconds.
On the outside. Doesn't quite make the move stick. We outbrake him into turn 1. And off we go, maintaining that P7 position. And what's going on here? Sergio Perez is coming back at us. He's pulled out. We're going to squeeze him over to the left-hand side of the track. But unfortunately, he's got the move done. But we are not going to brake early. And we're going to go round the outside. Look at our light flashing, though. We've got no ERS left. 6% only. That's not going to be good for us on the straights. But, crucially, P7 is still ours. Hamilton and Russell up next. Can we force them into a mistake? Perhaps they did look like they were squabbling a little bit. We have recovered some battery now. 2 more laps to go. Can we get the move done on Lewis Hamilton as we head down into turn 1? I don't know if we're going to be close enough here, to be honest, but we might just send one anyway. We have a little look and think twice. We do what we did to Sergio. No, unfortunately not. And Lewis will maintain his P6 for now, but we're here. And we are attacking. Got to keep an eye on Perez, though. He's very close. He's going to have a look. Down the inside, maybe. It's very close now. Very, very close now. Don't think he's going to have a look down the inside here. That's a ballsy one. And we politely close that door as we send one up the inside on Lewis Hamilton. This corner is really good for overtaking for us. I don't know why. The AI seems to take the widest line possible.
Okay, good
And
work.
just plenty of room there for us to get through. P5 is next then. Russell in the Mercedes. If we're going to do it, that'll be as far as we can go. Look how far the front runners are ahead. Look how far ahead Norris is. Unbelievable stuff. On the tail then of George Russell. It's going to be close. Onto the last lap. We haven't got a ton of ERS.
Okay, this is your final lap.
Is it
Final lap
enough?
of the race.
Round the outside, possibly. Do what we did on Sergio. Just bully our way through. Yes, almost. But George is still there. He's fighting it back. He's now ahead. Again, we're going to get DRS down the back straight. To the outside we go. We're going to be able to go round the outside here and maintain enough momentum to get the move done. Back to the racing line. Leaving just enough space. But the job is done and we're up into P5. Hopefully we can hold on to that for the rest of the lap. And that's a good starting position for the Grand Prix tomorrow. And like I said, grid penalties are expected here. So we could find ourselves even higher up this order if it all goes to plan. Bringing it home then in P5. And that's, really solid effort. Lando Norris absolutely dominated this race. And just look how far ahead. He's already crossed the line. And the next car along is the Ferrari of Sainz and his teammate Pierre Gasly. Max Verstappen up there in P4. And here we come for P5.
And that's the end of the race. We'll see you in Parc Fermé.
Wow, P5, good sprint, 4 points in the bag, 5 points for Verstappen. Still very close. It all comes down to the main Grand Prix tomorrow. I'm confident there'll be some grid penalties, so we'll see what happens. Lando Norris did a fantastic job in the McLaren to claim a victory. Here's what the standings look like then in the championship. 223 points for us, 7 points ahead of Verstappen, 17 points ahead of Sergio Perez. So this championship is anybody's. It could go one of 3 ways going into the final race. And that should make for a good one, I think. So we'll see what happens. Esteban Ocon has really recovered over the course of the season to get himself into P5. So good effort from him and just a really good result for Alpine all round, really, which is what we were after.
Welcome along then to where heroes and history are made. It's where the 2008 title was decided in the very final corner. And just 1 year later, Jenson Button stormed through from 14th on the grid to claim his one and only Drivers' Championship. It's time then for the Sao Paulo Grand Prix. Interlagos, always a very special race here in Brazil. It's a 2.7-mile circuit with 9 lefts and 6 rights for a total of 15 corners. The fastest lap today should have an average speed of around 135 miles per hour, if, of course, the weather stays dry until the end of the Grand Prix. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. Marshall lines up on pole position. And starting next to them is George Russell. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Hamilton, Gasly, they've taken a grid penalty, Lando Norris and Sainz, Perez, Stroll, Mick Schumacher, they'll be starting further back after an earlier grid penalty, and Esteban Ocon, Fernando Alonso, Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, they've taken a grid penalty, and Vettel, Tsunoda, Magnussen, Alex Albon and Nicolas Latifi, Ricciardo and Robert Schwartzman. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Anthony Davidson joins me once again in the commentary box. Ant, it's fantastic to have you with us here, but I'm curious, as a man with experience out on the track, how do you stop those pre-race nerves from becoming overwhelming when you're lining up on the grid?
Well, I imagine they'll be starting to feel the adrenaline as they anticipate the run down into turn 1, a bit like preparing to go into battle. The unknown situation will bring nerves, but that's a good thing. It will keep them focused on the moment and on their surroundings as we build towards the start of the Grand Prix.
Launch map is good, but we need to learn the gears, so go into each one when you can. We're going to need some work on the brakes, so put some energy into them and warm the tyres as well, please.
Wow. I was expecting grid penalties, but I wasn't expecting this. We are starting the final race of the season, the championship decider, from pole position.
Okay, not
Terrible
the best
parking.
placement there, mate. Let's try and get a good launch as the race starts.
And we are just going for
Okay,
it.
so that's the rest of the grid.
Soft
forming
tyres
up
on.
Now. Be patient and watch for those lights.
Russell and Hamilton behind. That means Max Verstappen himself has taken a grid penalty. Gasly and Norris as well. What can we do then from the front of the grid as we patiently wait for the 5 red lights? And we're underway for the season finale. A very snaky start for us. But look at Pierre Gasly sending it up the inside on everybody from 4th on the grid. And he's up into the lead already, making slight contact. Luckily, no damage there. Where did Stroll come from? He's absolutely done everybody off the grid as well. So now Lance Stroll in the Aston Martin is on the podium through the first corner. Unbelievable scenes. He's having a look at us on the outside. Sergio Perez here having a go at Lewis Hamilton. He's had a terrible start. He was just behind us and he's made his way all the way back down to P8. Where's Max Verstappen though? Down in P12, currently out of the points. This is the dream for us. We could wrap up the championship right here. All we need is a nice clean race. We don't even need to win it and we could wrap this up. But here we are on board with George Russell on lap 5. And Lance Stroll is just holding everybody up. It's unbelievable. George Russell has got through and taken his podium position, but it's brilliant. I'm with Pierre. Pierre is fast, but we've managed to run away. 5 seconds the gap to Russell, and if we can just hold on to that, we should be good. But, of course, we're going to have to pit early. But here we are on lap 6. And Max Verstappen making an unexpected pit stop. Has he got damage? Looks like he's lost the end plate on his front wing. That changes everything. That could really help us if we can just stay clean. Here's what happened. Mick Schumacher and Max Verstappen. Bop, there you go. There's the side plate just leaving. And that's pretty much ruined Max's race, unfortunately. Perez, though, is on his way up the positions. Now into P5. Onto lap 10, I would imagine on those soft tyres, we'll be looking to make a pit stop soon because they would have seen better days. Are we making a pit stop now? We are. We're going to adjust the front wing, it looks like, as well as we come into the pit lane. We're going to jump onto the hard tyre and try and go to the end. That's 26 laps on that hard tyre. It's going to be a tough ask, but I think we didn't get the start we wanted, let's face it. We've dropped down some places
Perfect
now.
job from you and the crew there, mate. We're delighted with that.
But with Verstappen just ahead of us in P18, or behind us in P18, sorry, we don't need to do very much. We do need to get back into the points if possible. Up the inside on Latifi. How we didn't get wing damage there, I do not know. Remember, this is simulation damage. Bullying our way through on Alonso. I cannot believe he didn't shut the door there. But we want to put as many cars between us and Verstappen as possible and just try and get into the points. Remember, everybody else is yet to make a pit stop. So, oh, we've gone round. We've gone round. We brought out a yellow flag. That's not going to help proceedings, is it? Latifi coming past again. Alonso as well. Here's what happened. We just got a little bit too... I want to say we got a little bit too trigger happy on the throttle there coming round, and it just overheated the rears, and round we went. Anyway, back to the race. Lap 14, we're going to have to overtake Alonso again. We do so into turn 1. Still, these guys haven't made a pit stop, so we should be okay in terms of position. You can see that the mid-pack, and Sergio's leading that mid-pack, is not that far ahead as we're just being a bit aggressive here, bullying our way through again on Latifi. Are we going to get it done? He puts up a bit of a fight, but we do get it done, and Verstappen is all the way back there. Only about 4 or 5 seconds behind us, I would say. Not too much to report, but on to lap 17, the pit stops are beginning. And that can only be a good thing for us. Up into P6. This is perfect, but it does bring Verstappen up as well into P5 with us. So, as it stands, with Perez behind, Verstappen behind, we will be champion if we can finish the race in the current positions. It's getting a bit tense now. 16 laps to go. Everybody's made a pit stop. The front runner's obviously clear of everybody at this point. Look how far ahead Pierre Gasly is in that McLaren. I wouldn't be surprised if they're fighting for a championship next season, the way they've upgraded that car.
Okay, stand by. We see a problem our end and we're looking into it.
That's never a good sign. Remember I said we need to finish this race. Getting that kind of message is never what we want. And Verstappen as well, if you look at the delta, he's closing in on us. So there is definitely an engine issue of some description. We're so slow compared to Verstappen. And he's on much older tyres than we are. So that's not ideal. Fingers crossed, it's not terminal. Fingers crossed.
Okay, looks like a mechanical failure. We're going to have to ask you to find a safe spot to retire. Sorry about that, mate.
In the championship decider, the gearbox has said, I'm done. I'm done. I'm out. There goes Verstappen. Potentially there goes the championship. Depends where Verstappen finishes. If he finishes in the points where he is right now, we're done for. Perez as well. It's a tough one. That sucks.
It's been a roller coaster season, but they can go into the winter with their heads held high after an emphatic victory here today.
It's a good sign. There's no Red Bulls on the podium.
How do you think they were able to deliver such an incredible result today?
Well, they certainly stood out as a driver with tons of confidence on the track. I think their ability to keep their cool, even during some of the more hectic parts of the race, meant they were able to capitalise on the mistakes of other drivers, giving them the opportunity to make their way to the top spot with ease.
Question is, who won the championship? We did, yes! Come on! Second season, championship win on the final race. We didn't even finish the race. And we are the World Drivers' Champion in Formula One for the first time. But the question I have is, what happened to Max Verstappen? because he was up there. He was going to take a P4 and Perez wasn't far behind. So what happened to Verstappen? I want to know. Let's have a look at the results for the Grand Prix. He didn't finish either. Someone was looking out for us that day. Let me tell you. He didn't finish either. And Perez didn't score enough points to close the gap. And we did it. Championship is ours. Moving to Audi next season. Definitely will not be fighting for a championship next season, but we did it. We came to Alpine at the beginning of this game cycle with the goal of taking them to the championship, and that's exactly what we've done. Find out who's going to replace me in the next episode. Find out who's my teammate going to be when we go to Audi, and of course there'll be tons of other transfers, I would imagine, as we head into season 3. New team on the grid, taking over from Alfa Romeo. Now, Leclerc's been up there in that Alfa Romeo, so the car is decent, but there's going to be a lot of work to do. So we're going to jump into that team, see what we can do, and let's do it all again. Let's take a midfield team to the top of Formula 1. But for right now, we're the champions. See you next time.